Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to your coffee times to talk about horror, and today I bring you my first TBR pile for 2025.
It's coffee time!
So one of my goals for 2025 when it comes to reading is to read more new releases and also to catch up with the arcs that I have, including NetGalley. So I have focused January on some of those new books and arcs, but I also wanted to make sure to start the year with hopefully good books because that's what we all want, right? So here is my TBR pile for January. The first one is Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker, and actually I'm waiting for this one because I did a pre-order on Amazon, and it's very interesting because Amazon says that this is going to be delivered to me in January, and GoodReads gives like a lot later release date, so I'm not sure what's gonna happen. So this is a new release that I really want to read because it sounds amazing. And if Amazon is correct, if they are telling me the truth, which we all know that you cannot trust Amazon, but if the information that they have provided me with is correct, I should be receiving this one around the middle of the month, so I should still have time to read it before the month's end. This is a book that is confronting, everything that happened to East Asians and the way that they were treated when we had the pandemic. And I think it's going to be a very interesting, full of rage story and a very important story to tell. Cora Zhang is our main character, and she cleans crime scenes. So she's sure that she has already seen everything in this life and there is nothing more horrific that she can see. But one day she witnesses as her sister is being pushed in front of a train as somebody screams "Bat Eater." After that day, everything changes for her, and she also realizes that a lot of the crime scenes that she has to clean after that, a lot of them involve East Asian women being murdered. I'm really interested about this one because the story just sounds so unique and so interesting, and it's addressing a topic that I think is very important to talk about because a lot of people have already forgotten all the blame that was put onto East Asians when the pandemic happened and how much they had to suffer and how they were persecuted for something that was not their fault. The next book that I'm gonna be reading in January is a book that is also a little bit out of my comfort zone because this is historical paranormal fiction, and that is The Warm Hand of Ghosts by Catherine Arden, and we chose this one to read with my Patreons. This is our Evil Book Club pick for the month. I am excited to read this one because I think it's still gonna be creepy because we have ghosts and it has that paranormal aspect to it, but I also don't read many books at all that are set during a war, like a real war that happened, and I'm really interested to see how this one is gonna work for me. During the Great War, Laura, a nurse, got hurt. So she was sent home and she was, let go from her position, but she left behind her brother still fighting at the trenches. One day Laura is informed that her brother Freddie died in combat, but she has the feeling that there is something more to it, that they're not telling her the whole truth. So she decides to travel to the line of battle to try to figure out what actually happened to her brother. When she gets there, she decides to get a job at a hospital to kind of infiltrate and try to figure out what's going on. And she hears rumors and whispers that talk about trenches that are haunted, and she starts to investigate all of that. So I'm guessing that's where all the ghosts and the paranormal stuff comes in. And I believe it's told in dual perspective, so we follow the story from Laura's perspective as well as her brother Freddie. So I'm really excited for this one, even though, like I said, it's something that I would not pick like immediately. It wouldn't be my first pick, but this book has always, been there. I've always been kind of interested in it, so I'm really happy that it got picked for the book club, so I have now no excuses. Next we have No Place Left to Hide by Megan Lally, and this is a YA mystery thriller, and this is a book that I had on my December TBR pile, but sadly I didn't get to it. And since the book is being published this month of January, I thought I still have time to catch up and I will read it in January because I am truly excited to read this one because I loved her debut novel, That's Not My Name. And so I want to see what she does with her second book. We follow Brooke, and for Brooke, image is very important. She wants to have the best grades. She wants to make it to her, chosen college. She treasures her friends and her boyfriend, and they're all celebrating the summer break, and they are doing a campfire by the beach, and everything seems to be fine. However, on the way back home, when they are driving back home, there is a truck that is following them, charging against them, and they think that somebody knows about their secret, about the incident. So this sounded to me a little bit like I Know What You Did Last Summer. We have teenagers partying, whatever, driving their car, and somebody knows that they're hiding a secret and that person is coming for them. So it sounds interesting, and like I said, I really enjoyed her first novel, so I'm excited to see how the second one is. Hopefully it's also a win for me. Then I have Needy Little Things by Chanel Desamours, and this is another YA mystery thriller, and this is the arc that I got at YALC. This book officially comes out in February 2025, so I thought it would be great for me to read it already in January and let you guys know what I think. This is a debut novel about a black teenage girl that has premonition powers, and those powers is something that she wants to use to find her missing friend. Our main character is able to read people's minds in the sense that she's able to hear what they need, like if it's tangible things. If somebody's thinking, oh, I need a pencil, I need to buy, I don't know, some groceries, whatever it is that it is physical and tangible, she can hear their thoughts. When one of her best friends disappears, she is determined to figure out what happened to her, and she wants to stop all of these missing black girls that nobody is trying to find. The police is not helping, the media is not helping, so she is determined to find a couple of friends to help her and find the missing girl. I'm really excited about this one because yes, we have seen a lot of mystery thrillers, YA mystery thrillers about missing girls, but I like that our main character has more of a drive, because for her this is personal. It's not just another friend that goes missing, and also she has this premonition power, and I want to see if she can push that power and she can expand it to be able to read other type of thoughts. So I'm really intrigued about this one. Next we have Summer of Monsters by David Sodergren, and I'm so excited about this book. I know I recently read Rotten Tommy, and I just thought maybe I should, take a month break from David Sodergren, but then I was like, you know what? No, I actually really want to read this, and I want this to be my first read of 2025 because I have so much confidence in David Sodergren, and I do believe that starting the year with a good book makes a difference. So this is the book that I have picked to be my first read of 2025. All I know is that we follow Lucy. Lucy and her father have relocated to a farm in the middle of nowhere because they are broke, they have no money, so that's the only thing that they could afford. And Lucy has enough, leaving her friends behind, the city behind, everything that she knew, and coming to this crusty, old, dusty place. And on top of that, the woods that are surrounding their new home hide monsters inside. There is legends and myths in this town about monsters that live in the woods, and when Lucy starts hearing things at night, she might get a little bit too curious and go investigate. I'm really excited for this one, and I am sure that David Sodergren is not going to disappoint, and I'm sure I'm going to start my reading year in 2025 with a great book. When Mimi Went Missing by Suya Sukumar, and this is another YA mystery thriller, and the reason why I picked this one is because I got an arc from NetGalley and I've been meaning to pick it up and I still haven't, and like I said, I want to catch up with books from 2024 that I didn't get to read, but also with new releases, and I'm trying to clear my list of arcs on NetGalley, so hopefully I'll be able to get through the majority of them in the first half of the year. This is a dark and twisty YA mystery that centers around the complicated relationship between two Indian American cousins. We followed Tanvi, and after her parents tragically died, her aunt and uncle adopted her, so she went to live with them and with Mimi, her cousin. And For Tanvi, Mimi has always been like a sister to her, and they've always been very tight. They've always protected each other at school. That is until Mimi changed kind of like friends at school, and she befriended the school bully, and she changed, and Tanvi didn't recognize her cousin anymore. Unfortunately, one day Mimi is gone. She disappears, and there we start our investigation on what happened to Mimi. So I'm really excited about this one because I want to see also all the different, you know, cultural aspects of this book, because we do have an Indian American family, and that is also a different experience when you're a teenager and you go to high school being an Indian American, and especially if there's bullies, if somebody goes missing, if there is like tension in the relationship between the cousins. Like, I hope that the author puts a lot of that cultural elements into the story, because when an author brings their own culture into the page, it makes the story so much more powerful, so much more interesting and unique. So I'm hoping that's what I'm gonna get with this one. Then we have Love Immortal by Kit Vincent, and this is another one that I got through NetGalley, and this is not horror per se, but it is vampires, it is dark academia, and there's a little bit of romance in it, so I was like, yes please. So I decided to start the year treating myself to a vampire dark academia romance and it's also gonna help me, you know, clear my list on NetGalley, because I also have other romance books on NetGalley that I need to read, but I thought starting with vampires was possibly a good choice. Jonathan is a sophomore at a very prestigious school, and his life is going through a lot right now because he has been disowned by his family after they caught him kissing a boy, and his mentor disappeared, and they have replaced him, and they have brought another teacher to school that is very, very peculiar. Needless to say that Jonathan is gonna have an attraction to this new enigmatic professor, and the professor is going to be at the beginning cold with him, but then he's gonna start to help him, get him a job at the school. I think he gets a job in the library, and then their relationship starts to flourish. And I don't know what I'm gonna think about that professor-student relationship. When I read An Education in Malice, I was worried about that part, but that didn't matter after all, and that was not the main thing of the story. However, here I feel like the romance between the student and the professor is going to be like the main focus, apart from the dark academia thing. And I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but of course when you read the synopsis you have the idea already that the professor is a vampire, so I don't know, he might be 300 years old, so I guess the age gap kind of is out of the window if one of them is a vampire. I don't know, but we will see what I think of it, but I'm gonna give it a chance. And last but not least, I have School of the Dead by Abby, and this I'm going to be listening on audiobook, and this is a middle grade because I have not read a spooky middle grade in so long, and I found this one on my app and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to this one. We follow Tony, and all his life he has thought of his uncle as the weird Uncle Charlie. That is until he moves in with him and his family, and then they start to spend a lot of time together. They go eat ice cream together, and actually his Uncle Charlie becomes a best friend. So when his Uncle Charlie suddenly dies, Tony is having a really hard time processing it, and he starts seeing his uncle everywhere, to the point where he thinks that actually his uncle's ghost is following him everywhere. So I'm interested about this one. It's basically a paranormal story, probably with a lot of heart, and I like when middle grade books also help kids deal with grief and loss and things like that, because sadly it's part of life, and I know a lot of times those things are avoided from kids' books, so I'm excited to see how they approach the topic. And that's it, you guys. Those are the books that I plan on reading in January. It is a small TBR because I am doing some reading vlogs behind the scenes. I am planning reading vlogs for almost every month because I would like to make it a habit, because I love doing themed reading vlogs, and for that I have to read extra books, so I don't want to overwhelm myself every month. So I'm trying to keep a smaller TBR pile and then add on top the other books. So apart from these that are 8 titles, I have 2 more that I'm going to be reading for a themed vlog that hopefully will be up in February. So that's why things are going to change a little bit in my TBR pile videos. Might be a little bit shorter or might have less books than usual, but that is why. It's because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, and I do want to make those themed reading vlogs happen. Let me know what you guys are going to be reading in January, and I'm really curious to know which is the first book you're planning to read or have already read in 2025, because I do believe that that first book makes a difference. Thank you guys as always so much for watching. If you want to support me, you can join my Patreon or become a member here on YouTube. Thank you guys for all your support, and I hope to see you all as always in our next coffee time. Bye!